Time now for a look at what's been grabbing headlines around the world. For that, I'm joined again by Florence Villeminot. And stateside papers are continuing to react to the resignation of Michael Flynn as Donald Trump's national security advisor.
It really has been one of the top stories in the U.S. media today. And the Washington Post was the paper that leaked the story originally. They have a new exclusive today that's likely to make some waves. You can see they say that in an interview with the FBI last month, he denied discussing sanctions with the Russian ambassador to the United States before Donald Trump's inauguration. That, of course, was the information that caused him to resign. And now it appears that he actually lied to the FBI, which potentially puts him in legal jeopardy because the Washington Post points out that lying to the FBI is a felony offense.
And staying in the US, papers are also focusing on yesterday's press conference given by Donald Trump.
That's right, quite a long press conference, 1 hour and 17 minutes. Now, originally, he was supposed to sing the praise of his new labor secretary pick, Alexander Acosta. You can see here in the Daily Beast, though, he did do that for a few minutes. He appeared bored, though, according to the Daily Beast. Sounded like he had just woken up from a power nap, and it quickly disintegrated, though, into unhinged criticism and belligerent sniping against the press and fake news. You can see some of the journalists who were at that press conference reacting here. One journalist whispers to another, they're calling it a crazy press conference, by the way, "This is insane." That's a quote from one of the journalists there.
And even conservative pro-Trump media outlets have been surprised.
That's right. The New Yorker actually says that Fox News called it insane. The New York Post called it a marathon rant. So these are papers that support Donald Trump. You can see the New Yorker here called it surreal. It was an alternative reality press conference where Donald Trump essentially self-congratulated himself for the first 4 weeks of his presidency. But the New Yorker disagrees with that pat on the back, says that in his first 4 weeks, Trump has achieved virtually nothing except scaring the bejesus out of the world. Now, the New York Times says that that is exactly why Donald Trump loves to lash out against the media and use it as a punching bag. You can see they're saying that for a troubled president, well, the media is actually a satisfying target, a good distraction for Donald Trump, according to the New York Times, rather.
Moving on, businesses shut down across the US and immigrants refused to spend money yesterday on the so-called Day Without Immigrants.
That's right. The idea was to show the Trump administration how much immigrants contribute to the U.S. economy. And it's an initiative that has actually gotten a lot of attention around the world. You can see here El País, their correspondent there, reporting on the situation in Washington, D.C., where at least 65 restaurants closed. The Nation, which is a U.S. Left-wing magazine, is saying that this day essentially gave Trump a taste of what he wants, showing that America can't run without immigrants, essentially. And according to a cartoon I found in Jeune Afrique, apparently Donald Trump himself was affected. This is a cartoon by a Franco-Burkinabese cartoonist, Damien Gletz. You can see him talking to his wife, Melania, there. "I forgot that my hairdresser was an immigrant." And she says, "Well, it's not as bad as it usually is."
Ouch. Okay, let's move away from a little bit of Donald Trump news. And papers across the globe are continuing to focus on this assassination this week of the exiled half-brother of the North Korean leader.
That's right. Let's take a look, first of all, at a cartoon in Courrier International. This is actually by a Cuban cartoonist, Martin Rera. I'm not really sure what's going on in this cartoon. It looks like Kim Jong-un is using a DNA double helix to strangle his brother here. Now, what's almost certain, according to the Korea Times, is that North Korea was behind this apparent assassination. You can see here the Korea Times is wondering why in the world this would happen, because apparently his half-brother wasn't really that much of a threat to Kim Jong-un, according to the Korea Times. And so according to them, it does, however, fit into Kim Jong-un's paranoia, his reign of terror. And there's a similar analysis if we go back to the Daily Beast. You can see they're calling him the Kimster, kind of like a hipster Kim, I guess. And they're comparing the whole situation in North Korea to Macbeth with nukes. So it sounds like a pretty scary situation.
And finally, you want to talk about woolly mammoths, of all things.
That's right. Now, woolly mammoths vanished from the Earth 4,000 years ago, but scientists say that they're on the brink of resurrecting it. It's on the front page of The Guardian. Could mammoths walk the earth again. This is going to be possible thanks to genetic engineering. Now, how does de-extinction work, you might want to know? Well, essentially, scientists take a mammoth gene. Apparently, you can get mammoth genes quite easily, and you splice them into elephant DNA using a very powerful genetic engineering tool. So it's a revised form of a woolly mammoth. It's not quite a real mammoth. Now, what's interesting is that this is a project by a team in Harvard, and they say they could create this hybrid mammoth-elephant embryo in 2 years. So you can see here, The Guardian says that it's on the brink of success, essentially. And what's interesting is this mammoth project could actually help combat global warming. Apparently, woolly mammoths could help prevent tundra permafrost from melting and releasing huge amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
Just to clarify, this isn't, oh, it's gone. That wasn't it.
That wasn't it. No.
That isn't it.
That isn't it.
That's just an elephant.
That is actually a specimen. They got that from the Siberian ice. It's 42,000 years old, so they could use that DNA to splice it into an elephant's DNA.
Okay, Florence, thank you very much. That's been through the international press this hour.